Introduction. Shadows at the door. Why Halloween haunts us. The wind howls through the trees, rattling the last leaves of autumn. Shadows flicker in the candlelight, and somewhere in the distance, a child's laughter mingles with the echo of ancient fears. It's Halloween, a night when the ordinary world slips, just for a moment, into the extraordinary. But why do we celebrate this night of masks and monsters? What ancient stories whisper beneath the rustle of costumes and the glow of jack-o'-lanterns? Halloween is more than just a holiday. It is a living tapestry woven from the threads of ancient ritual, religious transformation, and centuries of folklore. Every October 31st, millions don costumes, carve pumpkins, and fill the night with laughter and fright. Yet behind the candy and costumes lies a story that stretches back over 2,000 years to a time when the world was ruled by the cycles of nature, and the boundaries between the living and the dead were as thin as a wisp of smoke. This blog post is your invitation to journey through the mists of time, from the windswept hills of ancient Ireland to the bustling streets of modern America. We'll explore the origins of Halloween in the Celtic festival of Samhain, trace its transformation through Christian observances like All Saints' Day and All Hallows Eve, and uncover the fascinating evolution of customs like jack-o'-lanterns and trick-or-treating. Along the way, we'll meet witches and ghosts, saints and sinners, and discover why, after thousands of years, Halloween still holds us in its spell. So light a candle, draw the curtains, and prepare to step into the shadows, because the story of Halloween is about to begin. The ancient roots. Halloween's beginnings in the Celtic world. Let's travel back in time, before the electric glow of porch lights and the rustle of plastic candy wrappers. Picture windswept fields in ancient Ireland, the harvest gathered, and villagers preparing for a night unlike any other. This was Samhain, pronounced Samhain, the festival that marked the end of the harvest and the beginning of winter. For the Celts, the night of Samhain was perched on a threshold. It was a liminal time, a thin place, when the boundaries between the living and the dead blurred. The people believed that the spirits of those who had passed could return to walk among them. Some spirits were friendly, seeking comfort or reunion. Others were mischievous or even malevolent, capable of causing harm or misfortune. How did the Celts respond to this uncanny night? They lit enormous bonfires on hilltops to ward off evil and provide light in the lengthening darkness. Offerings of food and drink were set out to appease wandering souls. People wore masks and animal skins, disguising themselves not just for fun, but as a practical measure to confuse or frighten vengeful spirits. It was a night of fear and reverence, of celebration and solemnity. From Samhain to saints, Christianity's influence. As centuries passed, the world changed. Christianity spread across Europe, and the Church, recognizing the deep roots of Samhain, saw an opportunity. In the 8th century, Pope Gregory III established November 1st as All Saints' Day, known as All Hallows, honoring saints and martyrs. The night before became All Hallows Eve, eventually merging into Halloween. But the Church couldn't simply erase Samhain. Many of its customs, honoring the dead, lighting candles, feasting, were absorbed into the new Christian holidays. All Souls' Day, celebrated on November 2nd, further extended the commemoration of the departed. Thus, the festival survived, not in opposition to the new faith, but blended with it, a tradition reborn. This syncretism is one of Halloween's greatest strengths. It allowed the holiday to adapt and survive, shifting form while retaining its essence. A night to remember the dead, confront the unknown, and embrace the mysterious. Masks, mischief, and magic, medieval and early modern traditions. Let's fast forward to medieval Europe, where Halloween's blend of fear and festivity continued to evolve. The bonfires still burned, but now the night was also filled with song, laughter, and the clamor of costumed revelers. This was the age of mumming and guising, early forms of trick-or-treating. On All Hallows Eve, groups of masked children and adults would go door to door, performing songs, reciting verses, or acting out short plays. In return, they received food, ale, or small coins. This tradition was rooted in both fun and necessity. For the poor, it was a chance to gather offerings for the winter ahead. Another custom emerged, the giving of soul cakes. These small, spiced breads were handed out in exchange for prayers for the souls of the departed. The more cakes a person received, the more souls they could pray for. A deliciously charitable act. Why were costumes so important? In a world where the dead might walk, disguises weren't just for play, they were for survival. A mask could trick a ghost, confuse a fairy, or turn away an evil spirit. Even today, when we slip on a costume, we're tapping into this ancient magic, stepping outside ourselves and into the realm of possibility. The folklore of fear, ghosts, witches, and monsters. Halloween is a feast for the imagination. It's the one night when we openly celebrate the things that frighten us: ghosts, witches, skeletons, and all manner of monsters. But why these particular figures? In Celtic lore, the world was alive with spirits, ancestors, fairies, and supernatural beings known as the All Sea. Some were helpful, others dangerous. The church, meanwhile, brought its own cast of characters: saints, angels, and demons. Over time, these stories intermingled, giving rise to the motley crew of Halloween icons we know today. Witches, in particular, became closely associated with Halloween. Feared and misunderstood, the witch embodied the power and peril of the supernatural. As witch trials swept Europe and America, the image of the cackling, broomstick-riding crone took hold, a symbol of both danger and defiance. Ghosts, too, were ever present. Halloween offered a safe space to share tales of hauntings, to confront the idea of death and to laugh in the face of fear. Whether told around a fire or whispered in the dark, ghost stories are a vital thread in Halloween's tapestry. Crossing the Atlantic, Halloween comes to America. If you thought Halloween was always an American holiday, think again. For centuries, it was largely a Celtic and British affair. That changed in the 19th century, as waves of Irish and Scottish immigrants crossed the Atlantic, bringing their customs with them. In America, Halloween blossomed. The old customs found fertile ground in the New World. The tradition of carving lanterns from turnips or beets shifted to pumpkins, native to North America and perfect for the job. Thus was born the jack-o'-lantern, inspired by the legend of Stingy Jack, a trickster doomed to wander the earth with only a carved, glowing vegetable to light his way. Halloween in America soon became a community event. By the early 20th century, it was celebrated in schools, churches, and neighborhoods. The focus shifted from mischief and pranks to parties, games, and child-friendly fun. After World War II, the rise of suburbia and the baby boom transformed Halloween into a massive, candy-fueled celebration, one that continues to grow each year. Modern magic, costumes, candy, and community. Today, Halloween is a kaleidoscope of traditions. Children dress as superheroes, witches, or movie monsters, ringing doorbells and chanting, "Trick or treat." Homes are decorated with cobwebs, skeletons, and grinning pumpkins. Haunted houses, parades, and horror movies add to the excitement. What is it about Halloween that keeps us coming back? Part of the answer lies in its sense of play. For one night, the ordinary rules are suspended. We can be anyone or anything we choose. The boundaries between self and other, real and imagined, grow thin. Halloween is also about community. It brings neighbors together, encourages generosity, and provides a safe space for children to explore their fears. In a world that often demands conformity, Halloween is a celebration of difference, creativity, and transformation. The enduring spell. Why we need Halloween. As autumn deepens and the nights grow long, Halloween reminds us that we are part of a world much older, stranger, and more wondrous than we sometimes remember. It invites us to honor the past, confront our fears, and embrace the unknown. From the ancient bonfires of Samhain to the glowing jack-o'-lanterns on modern porches, Halloween endures because it speaks to something deep within us, a need to celebrate, to remember, and to play. It's a holiday that allows us to step into the shadows, not with dread, but with delight. So this October 31st, as the wind rattles your windows and the shadows gather at your door, remember, You're part of a story that stretches back through centuries. Light your lantern, don your mask, and step boldly into the night. Halloween is here, and its magic is yours to claim. The ancient roots, Samhain and the Celtic world, where the veil thins and the shadows dance hook. When night fell, the world changed. Imagine a world where the turning of the seasons wasn't just a matter of weather, but a time when reality itself seemed to shift. The last sheaves of grain were bundled in the fields. The days grew short, the nights impossibly long, and a chill crept across the land. On this night, fires flickered on every hilltop, and families gathered close. Because the living were not the only ones abroad. This was Samhain, a night when the boundaries between worlds dissolved and the ancestors came calling. The Celtic calendar and the wheel of the year. To grasp the true meaning of Samhain, we must first step into the world of the Celts. Stretching across Ireland, Scotland, Wales, Brittany, and Gaul, the Celts were not a single nation, but a tapestry of tribes, united by language and a reverence for the rhythms of the earth. Their lives were governed not by clocks or digital calendars, but by what scholars call the wheel of the year, a cycle of seasons, festivals, and cosmic transitions. The year was split into two great halves. The light half, beginning with Beltane, May 1st, marking the rise of warmth, fertility, and abundance. The dark half, ushered in by Samhain, October 31st, November 1st, a descent into cold, darkness, and uncertainty. For the Celts, the dark half was not something to dread, but to respect. It was a time of rest for the land, but also a season of mystery, magic, and the supernatural. Samhain, the liminal festival. If Beltane was a festival of life and fire, Samhain, pronounced Sah-Wain, was its shadowy twin, a festival of endings, beginnings, and the uncanny. It marked the end of the harvest, when the last storehouses were filled and the livestock brought down from the high pastures. Yet Samhain was far more than a harvest festival. It was a liminal time, a crossing of thresholds. The old year died, the new one was not yet born. The world of the living and the world of the dead overlapped. Rules, identities, and even the very laws of nature could be upended for a single night. The Celts believed that the veil between worlds was at its thinnest during Samhain. The spirits of the dead could return, not just to be honored, but to walk among the living. Some were beloved ancestors, welcomed with open arms and a place at the table. Others were mischievous, lost, or hungry for mischief, spirits who needed to be appeased or avoided. Rituals, beliefs, and the thin veil. How did the Celts face such a night? With a mixture of fear, reverence, and celebration, and a host of rituals that would echo down through the centuries. Bonfires on the hilltops. As darkness fell, massive bonfires blazed atop hills and in clearings. These fires were more than just sources of light and warmth. Protection. Fires were believed to ward off evil spirits, purify the land, and offer protection for the coming winter. Community. Whole villages would gather, sharing food, stories, and the comfort of companionship in the face of the unknown. It was common to extinguish the hearth in every home and relight it from the communal bonfire, symbolizing unity and the start of a new year. Costumes and disguises. On Samhain, costumes were not just for fun, they were a matter of survival. People wore animal skins, masks, or ragged cloaks to confuse any spirits that might wish them harm. Sometimes they dressed as the very spirits they feared, hoping to blend in and avoid attention. This ancient tradition is the direct ancestor of our modern Halloween costumes, a playful echo of the Celts' deeper, darker beliefs about the night when nothing was quite what it seemed. Feasts for the living and the dead. Samhain was a time for feasting, but not just for the living. Families would set an extra place at the table, leave food and drink on the doorstep, or light a candle in the window. Invitations for the spirits of loved ones to join the celebration. The dead were honored and remembered, their presence welcomed rather than feared. But not all spirits were kin. Offerings were also meant to appease the wandering dead or supernatural beings, ensuring they would pass by without causing harm or mischief. divination and prophecy. With reality in flux, Samhain was the prime time for seeking glimpses of the future. The Celts practiced various forms of divination. Apple peels thrown over the shoulder might spell out a true love's initial. Nuts thrown into the fire could foretell the fate of romantic relationships. Dreams and visions on Samhain night were thought to be particularly prophetic. The sense of possibility and uncertainty made the night both thrilling and a little terrifying. The otherworld, spirits, fairies, and the Aos Sea. Celtic mythology is rich with tales of the otherworld, a realm of gods, fairies, the Aos Sea, and ancestral spirits. Samhain was the night when the borderlands between the mortal world and the otherworld grew porous. The Aos Sea, sometimes called the fair folk or good neighbors, these supernatural beings could be helpful, but were often capricious or dangerous. On Samhain, it was best not to attract their attention. Ancestral spirits, honored guests, believed to bring blessings or warnings for the year ahead. Restless dead, souls who had not found peace could roam, seeking resolution or revenge. Legends warned against traveling alone on Samhain night. Doors to fairy mounds and ancient burial sites were said to open, and those who strayed might never return. A night turned upside down, order and chaos. Samhain was not just about fear, it was also about freedom. The normal rules of society were suspended. Servants might play pranks on their masters. Young people roamed the dark, knocking on doors and demanding treats, a practice that would later become trick-or-treating. There was laughter alongside the fear and joy alongside the uncertainty. Samhain was a celebration of life's wild unpredictability, a festival where chaos was not just endured, but embraced. Samhain's legacy, seeds of Halloween. The echoes of Samhain can be heard in nearly every aspect of modern Halloween. Jack-o'-lanterns. Originally carved from turnips or beets, these lanterns were meant to ward off malevolent spirits, a practice that traveled from Celtic lands to America, where pumpkins became the canvas of choice. Trick-or-treating, the ancient tradition of roaming in disguise, demanding food or gifts, evolved into the playful rituals of children seeking candy. Costumes and masks. What began as a defense against spirits is now a joyful celebration of creativity and transformation. Bonfires and parties. The communal fires of old remain in the glow of carved pumpkins, backyard fire pits, and neighborhood gatherings. Why does Samhain still speak to us? In our modern, electric-lit world, the fears of winter and the supernatural may seem distant, yet Samhain's story still resonates. It speaks to something deep within us, a fascination with the unknown, a longing to connect with those who came before, and a need to acknowledge the darkness as well as the light. Halloween's enduring magic is rooted in this ancient festival of Samhain. It is not just a night for scares and sweets, but a living reminder that life is a cycle, that endings are followed by beginnings, and that sometimes the veil between worlds grows thin enough for us to glimpse the extraordinary. Conclusion. When the veil grows thin, as the last leaves fall and the air grows cold, remember the fires that once blazed on Celtic hillsides. Remember the laughter, the fear, the stories told in the flicker of the flames. On Samhain night, the world was turned upside down, and anything seemed possible. So as you carve your pumpkins, don your costume, or light a candle for a loved one this Halloween, remember, you are partaking in an ancient dance, a celebration of life, death, and the mysteries that lie just beyond the reach of daylight. Step into the shadows, and let the magic of Samhain lead you into the heart of Halloween, the coming of Christianity, All Saints' Day and All Hallows' Eve. How the Church transformed the shadows of Samhain into the light of All Hallows' Hook, from pagan fires to sacred candles. Picture a wind-swept hill in early November. Once, towering bonfires blazed here, keeping the spirits of Samhain at bay. Now the fires are smaller, candles flickering in the windows of stone churches, illuminating icons of saints and martyrs. The old gods have faded, but the yearning to honor the dead remains. This is the moment when two worlds converge, the ancient Celtic festival of Samhain and the dawn of All Saints' Day. What happens when an old world of magic and mystery meets a new world of faith and salvation? The answer is a story of transformation, blending, and the birth of traditions we still keep alive today. The Church's strategy, syncretism, and conversion. As Christianity spread across the patchwork quilt of Europe's tribes and kingdoms, the Church faced a daunting challenge. The old religions, deeply rooted in the rhythms of the land, weren't easily erased. The Celts, Saxons, and other pagan peoples clung to their festivals and beliefs, especially those that celebrated the turning of the year. A calculated embrace. Rather than try to stamp out beloved festivals like Samhain, the Church adopted a strategy of syncretism, the blending of old and new, pagan and Christian. This was a stroke of genius, or divine inspiration, depending on your perspective. The Church recognized that people would not easily abandon their celebrations, so why not give them a new meaning? Pope Gregory III, 731–741 CE, set a precedent when he moved the celebration of All Saints' Day, a day to honor all Christian saints and martyrs, to November 1st, right atop the ancient festival of Samhain. The night before became All Hallows Eve, eventually shortened, through centuries of storytelling and linguistic drift, to Halloween. By overlaying Christian significance onto a pagan festival, the Church transformed fear of the dead into veneration of the holy. The door between worlds, once feared in Celtic lore, was now recast as a time to honor the virtuous dead and seek their intercession. All Saints' Day, a festival of light among shadows. The creation of All Saints' Day was more than a bureaucratic decision. It was a statement of spiritual intent. This was a holy day to remember the canonized saints who had become models of Christian virtue, the nameless martyrs who died in faith, and by extension all departed souls who had lived righteous lives. Church bells rang out across Europe, summoning the faithful not to fear death, but to honor the communion of saints. The message was clear. The dead were not to be feared but celebrated as part of the great family of believers. Inheritance from Samhain. But the Church did not simply erase the customs of Samhain. Instead, many traditions were gently folded into the new holy days, candles and bonfires. Where once flames protected against restless spirits, church candles now symbolize the light of Christ and the hope of resurrection. Feasts. Just as Samhain was a time for communal feasting, All Saints' Day became a day of gathering, eating, and sharing stories of the departed. Honoring the dead, the practice of setting places at the table for ancestors, found new life in prayers for the souls of the faithful departed. All Souls' Day, praying for the departed. One day was not enough to contain the longing to remember loved ones. By the 10th century, the Church added All Souls' Day on November 2nd. This was a more somber occasion, dedicated specifically to praying for all the dead, not just saints, but ordinary people. Masses for the dead were said in churches and cemeteries. Candles and offerings adorned graves. The faithful prayed to speed the souls of the departed through purgatory and into heaven. Suddenly, the entire period from October 31 to November 2nd, the Hallowtide, became a sacred season, blending memory, hope, and the mystery of the afterlife. The blending of cultures, pagan and Christian hand in hand. The transition from Samhain to Hallowtide was not a simple replacement, but a complex and creative fusion. The old and the new coexisted, sometimes uneasily, but often with surprising harmony. Examples of blended traditions, costumes and disguises. During Samhain, people wore masks to ward off or confuse spirits. In medieval Christian Europe, solars, children and the poor, dressed in costumes and went door to door, singing and begging for soul cakes in exchange for prayers for the dead. This is a direct ancestor of modern trick-or-treating. Lighting the way. Lanterns, once carved from turnips or gourds to frighten away evil, became symbols of guiding souls through darkness. Over time, these evolved into the jack-o'-lanterns we know today. Feasting and offering. Both pagan and Christian calendars marked this season with special foods, communal meals, and charitable giving. A new kind of liminality. Where Samhain saw the boundary between worlds as a source of anxiety and awe, the church reframed it as an opportunity for communion, with saints, with loved ones, and with God. The boundary was still thin, but now it was a channel for hope and prayer, not just fear. The spread and evolution of Hallowtide. As Christianity expanded, so did the reach of All Saints and All Souls Days. The customs traveled from Ireland and Britain to continental Europe, and much later across the Atlantic to North America. Regional variations. In Spain and Mexico, All Souls Day would evolve into Dia de los Muertos, a vibrant blend of Catholic and indigenous beliefs, where families build altars, picnic in cemeteries, and celebrate the return of their beloved dead. In Italy, families prepare special breads and sweets for the dead. In Poland and other Slavic countries, cemeteries are illuminated with thousands of candles on All Saints' Night. Wherever it traveled, the core message remained: the dead are not forgotten, and the living are bound to them by memory, prayer, and tradition. The persistence of the old ways. Even as Christianity became dominant, echoes of Samhain persisted, sometimes beneath the surface, sometimes openly. Divination. Old beliefs in fortune-telling and prophecy lingered in country villages and folk celebrations. Superstitions. Stories of ghosts, fairies, and the wandering dead survived alongside saints' legends. Rituals of the hearth. Many families kept up the practice of lighting candles in the window or leaving a token meal for wandering souls. In this way, the ancient and the Christian were not enemies but uneasy partners, each shaping the way people thought about death, the afterlife, and the cycles of the year. The birth of Halloween as we know it. By the time Irish and Scottish immigrants brought their customs to America, the festival had already changed, but it changed again on new soil. Trick-or-treating grew from souling and guising traditions. Pumpkins replaced turnips for lanterns, thanks to the bounty of the New World. Costumes became more elaborate, and the festival became a night for mischief, stories, and community fun. Over time, Halloween shed much of its religious baggage and became a secular celebration of the strange, the imaginative, and the spooky. But beneath the masks and candy, the old themes endure, honoring the dead, facing the unknown, and celebrating the cycle of life and death. Conclusion: when worlds collide. The story of All Saints' Day and All Hallows' Eve is a testament to the resilience of human tradition. The Church's willingness to meet the old world halfway, to baptize its fire festivals and feasts, ensured that both the pagan and the Christian would survive, transformed in new and unexpected ways. Each Halloween, whether you light a candle for the saints, carve a pumpkin, or share ghost stories by firelight, you are participating in a ritual thousands of years in the making, a dance of memory and hope, shadow and light. In the end, the coming of Christianity did not erase Samhain. It gave it a new name, a new meaning, and a new life, one that still flickers in the dark each autumn as the veil grows thin and the world remembers. Medieval and early modern Halloween, mumming, guising, and soul cakes. How fear, faith, and festivity created the roots of modern Halloween. Hook, when shadows walked and songs opened doors. Imagine a crisp autumn night in medieval Europe. Smoke rises from hearths and fires flicker at crossroads. Children and adults cloaked in makeshift costumes wander from house to house. Some sing, some recite strange verses, some perform comic or eerie plays. In exchange, they receive spiced cakes, apples, or coins. The air carries the scent of baking bread and the tingle of anticipation. For tonight, the boundary between the living and the dead feels thin. This is not just a night of fear, but of hope, charity, and community. Welcome to Halloween, as it was lived centuries ago, a time when the supernatural and the sacred walked hand in hand, and the roots of today's favorite festivities first took hold. Medieval Europe, fear, faith, and folklore intertwined. Halloween in medieval Europe was more than a single night of revelry or terror. It existed at the crossroads of faith and folklore, of church and village green. The transition from the ancient pagan festival of Samhain to the Christianized Hallowtide All Hallows Eve, All Saints' Day, and All Souls' Day did not erase old beliefs. Instead, it layered new meanings atop ancient customs, lingering fears and sacred hopes. Fear of spirits. Even as Christianity flourished, people believed the dead could return on All Hallows Eve. The night was thick with stories of wandering souls, restless ghosts, and fairy folk seeking mischief or vengeance. Hope for blessings. The church encouraged prayers for the dead, believing that the living could help souls in purgatory reach heaven. This faith in intercession gave rise to rituals of remembrance, light, and charity. Ritual fires. Bonfires blazed on hills and in village squares, part protection against evil, part celebration of the changing year. The result was a season where the sacred and the supernatural mingled, and every family found its own balance of prayer, precaution, and play. Mumming and guising, the birth of costumes and door-to-door traditions. One of the most vibrant threads running through medieval Halloween was the tradition of disguise. Guisers and mummers. Who were they? Guising. From the word guise, meaning disguise, this practice involved donning masks or costumes, often old clothes, animal skins, or faces blackened with soot. Guisers paraded through the streets, their identities hidden, their intentions mysterious. Mumming. Mummers were groups who performed short, often humorous or moralistic plays in public squares or doorways. These performances might feature knights, dragons, saints, or even death himself. The plays were interactive, filled with song, jest, and plenty of improvisation. Why disguise? Protection from spirits. Disguises were thought to confuse or ward off wandering ghosts, fairies, and demons who might otherwise recognize and trouble the living on this liminal night. License for mischief. Hidden behind masks, participants felt free to break the usual rules of social order, teasing neighbors or demanding treats without fear of reprisal. Blurring boundaries. Costumes symbolized the blurring of worlds, living and dead, rich and poor, sacred and profane. Songs, verses, and performances. Guisers and mummers rarely came empty-handed. They brought entertainment, jokes, or blessings. In return, householders gave gifts: apples, nuts, cakes, ale, or sometimes small coins. This tradition would eventually evolve into the familiar trick-or-treat call and the playful performances still seen in some communities today. Soul cakes, prayers, pastries, and the poor, while mummers and guisers provided the spectacle. Another quieter tradition took root among the less fortunate. Souling. The first trick-or-treaters. On All Hallows Eve and All Souls' Day, the poor, often children, would go from door to door, singing or chanting simple prayers for the souls of the households departed. In exchange, they were given soul cakes, small, round, spiced breads, sometimes marked with a cross or decorated with currants. A traditional souling rhyme might go, a soul, a soul, a soul cake. Please, good missus, a soul cake. An apple, a pear, a plum, or a cherry. Any good thing to make us all merry. The meaning of soul cakes: charity. Giving soul cakes was seen as an act of charity, believed to help the dead by earning prayers for their souls. Remembrance. Each cake was often intended for a specific soul, named aloud in prayer. Community. Souling created bonds between rich and poor, old and young, living and dead. Recipe. The classic soul cake. While recipes vary, a typical soul cake included flour, butter, sugar, egg yolks, spices, nutmeg, cinnamon, allspice, and sometimes dried fruit. They were small, sweet, and easy to hand out to visiting soulers. Faith and folklore. The dance of the sacred and the strange medieval Halloween was a tapestry woven from many threads. Church rituals, masses for the dead, processions to cemeteries, bells tolling to remind the living of their mortal fate. Folk beliefs, divination games, trying to predict one's future spouse or fortunes, apple bobbing, mirror gazing, and other magic rites. Protective charms. Households would hang rowan branches or scatter salt to keep evil at bay. Some carved faces into turnips or gourds to frighten off spirits. A clear ancestor of today, Jacko, lanterns. This was a time to laugh at death, honor the ancestors, and enjoy the abundance of the harvest all at once. Early modern changes, from sacred season to secular fun. As Europe entered the early modern period, roughly 1500–1800, Halloween continued to evolve, Reformation and resistance. The Protestant Reformation, 16th century, challenged many Catholic practices, including prayers for the dead and the veneration of saints. In England and Scotland, Halloween customs survived, but the focus on All Souls' Day faded. Instead, the night became a festival of mischief, fortune-telling, and rural games. Wider participation. By the 18th century, Halloween was celebrated by all classes. Masked balls, parades, and parties grew popular, especially in Scotland and Ireland. Children and adults alike participated in guising and souling, keeping the tradition alive even as its religious core softened. The journey to America. Irish and Scottish immigrants carried guising, mumming, and soul cakes to North America in the 19th century. There, Halloween would blend with other harvest and autumnal celebrations, eventually blossoming into the family-friendly, candy-fueled holiday we know today. Legacy. The medieval roots of modern Halloween. When you don a costume, carve a pumpkin, or go trick-or-treating, you are taking part in a tradition that stretches back centuries. Costumes recall the disguises of guisers and mummers, worn to both entertain and protect. Trick-or-treating echoes the door-to-door journeys of soulers and guisers, exchanging performance or prayer for a sweet reward. Halloween parties channel the medieval mix of fear, fun, and festivity. A night to play, to mock death, to build bonds with neighbors, and to remember those who came before. Conclusion. When the past walks beside us. Medieval and early modern Halloween was a night of paradox, sacred and silly, fearful and hopeful, communal and mysterious. It was a time when fires blazed, songs rang out, and souls, living and departed, found connection through ritual, charity, and joy. So next Halloween, as you light your jack-o'-lantern, offer a treat, or dress in a wild disguise, remember, you're part of a chain stretching back through centuries, to nights when the world felt thin, the spirits walked abroad, and a simple cake and a song could open the doors between worlds. The folklore of fear, ghosts, witches, and the supernatural. How ancient superstitions and legends gave birth to Halloween's darkest night hook, when shadows gather and whispers linger. Picture yourself walking an old country lane on a cold, dark autumn night. The wind howls, leaves swirl, and the sky is black as pitch. Somewhere in the darkness, a branch snaps. Is it just a fox or something older? Something watching from beyond the veil? Welcome to the world of Halloween's folklore, where every shadow has a story and every whisper might be the echo of another realm. Here, myth and memory blur, and the supernatural feels just a breath away. Spirits, fairies, and the Sea, the Celtic roots of terror and wonder. Long before Halloween became a festival of costumes and candy, it was a night soaked in mystery and fear. Nowhere was this more true than in the Celtic lands of Ireland and Scotland, where the ancient festival of Samhain, pronounced Samhain, marked the transition from the light of summer to the darkness of winter. The Sea, the hidden people. Who are the Sea? The Sea, literally people of the mounds, are the fairies, spirits, or good neighbors of Celtic folklore. Said to dwell in earthen mounds, ancient ruins, or beneath the hills, they were believed to be the remnants of the old gods, powerful, capricious, and easily offended. Samhain, the night of passage. Samhain was the time when the boundaries between the worlds of the living and the dead grew thin. The Sea and spirits of the departed were free to roam the earth, seeking hospitality, mischief, or vengeance, offerings, and fear. To avoid their wrath, people left out food and drink, carved faces into turnips to ward off evil, and stayed indoors after dark. Any unexplained sound, sudden sickness, or lost livestock might be blamed on these unseen visitors. Ghosts and ancestors. The return of the dead. Samhain was also the night when ancestors returned home. Families set extra places at the table and kept the hearth burning bright, both to honor their loved ones and to keep malignant spirits at bay. Community vigilance. Fires were lit on hillsides, believed to guide the souls of the dead and to protect the living from wandering phantoms. Stories of ghostly processions and haunted crossroads became part of the oral tradition, passed down to chill and caution future generations. Witchcraft, superstition, and Halloween's dark side. As Christianity spread across Europe, and as the Middle Ages gave way to the early modern period, the folklore of Samhain began to intertwine with new fears. None greater than the fear of witches and the devil. Witches. Real and imagined, from wise women to witches. In earlier centuries, cunning folk, herbalists, midwives, and wise women were respected for their knowledge. But as superstition and church doctrine grew stricter, suspicion turned these figures into threats. The witch hunts. The late 16th and 17th centuries saw a wave of witch hunts and trials across Europe. Halloween, already associated with the supernatural, became a time when the dangers of witchcraft were most keenly felt. Bonfires, once meant to honor the dead, now served as protection against witches and evil spirits. Symbols of evil black cats, broomsticks, cauldrons, and pointed hats, now icons of Halloween, are all rooted in the imagery of the witch. Some of these symbols come from medieval depictions, others from later folklore and the popular imagination. Superstition and protection charms in wards' households, scattered salt, hung rowan branches, or placed iron implements at doors and windows to keep witches and spirits away. Fortune-telling. Halloween was also a time for divination. People performed rituals to reveal their future spouse, predict the year's luck, or learn secrets from the spirit world, sometimes with the help of a witch or local wise woman. The evolution of Halloween monsters, from folklore to pop culture. As Halloween moved through the centuries, it collected new monsters along the way. What began as a night for ancestor spirits and fairy folk became a carnival of all things creepy, from ghosts to vampires and werewolves. Ghosts, the eternal haunters. Medieval ghost stories, tales of restless spirits, were a staple of medieval folklore. Ghosts might appear to seek vengeance, to warn the living, or simply because they could not find peace. Victorian ghost lore. In the 19th century, a new fascination with seances and spiritualism revived the popularity of ghost stories. Halloween became the perfect night to tell tales by candlelight, daring friends to face their fears. Modern hauntings. From haunted houses to ghost tours, the presence of the supernatural is now a mainstay of Halloween entertainment. Vampires and werewolves. Imported terrors. Vampires. While vampire legends existed in Eastern Europe for centuries, they entered Halloween's orbit through Gothic novels and later Hollywood films. The vampire's association with death, blood, and nocturnal evil made it a natural fit for the season. Werewolves. Tales of humans transforming into wolves under the full moon are found across Europe. These stories played on fears of the wild, the unknown, and the possibility that evil might lurk within anyone. The witch's legacy. From fear to fun, today's Halloween witches are as likely to be playful or glamorous as they are frightening. Yet the roots of the witch's association with Halloween run deep, a blend of respect, fear, and fascination with the powers of the unknown. Halloween's night of revelry, how folklore became celebration. The modern Halloween party is a direct descendant of these ancient fears, and the rituals designed to keep them at bay. Bonfires and lanterns. Bonfires. Lighting fires was both a practical and symbolic act, warding off spirits and providing a gathering place for the community. Jack-o'-lanterns. The tradition of carving faces in turnips or later pumpkins comes from the need to frighten away evil spirits or mischievous fairies. The glow of the lantern was both a warning and a welcome. Costumes and masquerade masks and guises. Disguising oneself on Halloween has its roots in the fear of being recognized by wandering spirits. If you looked like a ghost, perhaps the real ghosts would leave you alone. Mumming and guising. As mentioned in medieval traditions, groups performed songs, plays, or tricks in exchange for treats. This practice evolved into today's trick-or-treating, but its origins are steeped in the folklore of protection and appeasement. Telling tales by firelight. Storytelling Halloween remains a favorite time for sharing ghost stories, tales that continue to evolve, but always echo the same ancient fears. The dead who walk, the witches who cast curses, the monsters who prowl the night. Why do we love to be scared? There is something irresistible about the thrill of fear when it comes in the form of a story or a game. Halloween gives us permission to confront the unknown, to laugh at death, and to play with the things that once terrified our ancestors. Catharsis and community. Sharing scary stories or facing haunted houses together allows us to process our fears in a safe way. Connection to the past. Every costume, every lantern, every whispered tale is a link to centuries of tradition, a reminder that we are part of an unbroken chain of humans who have always wondered what lies beyond the dark. Conclusion. Shadows that endure. The folklore of fear is alive and well every Halloween. Beneath the plastic fangs and cardboard cutouts, ancient legends of ghosts, witches, and supernatural beings still shape our celebrations. We may light our lanterns with electricity now, but the reason remains the same: to keep the darkness at bay and to honor the mysteries that linger just beyond the reach of reason. So this Halloween, as you don your costume or tell a ghost story by candlelight, remember, the shadows are old, the fear is ancient, and every tale you tell is part of a much older story, one that began when our ancestors first wondered what waited for them in the night. The transatlantic journey. How Halloween came to America. Every autumn, the orange glow of jack-o'-lanterns and the rustling of costumed children fill American neighborhoods. But have you ever wondered how Halloween, so quintessentially American today, actually made its way across the Atlantic? The story of Halloween in America is a fascinating tale of immigration, adaptation, and cultural alchemy. Irish and Scottish immigration, Halloween's passage across the sea. Imagine stepping off a crowded ship in the early 1800s, the air thick with hope and trepidation. Among the few possessions clutched by Irish and Scottish immigrants were not just keepsakes, but memories of ancient festivals. In the 19th century, millions of Irish and to a lesser extent Scottish immigrants arrived in North America, fleeing famine, poverty, and seeking new opportunities. Along with them, they brought the centuries-old festival of Samhain, which had since evolved into Halloween. Samhain's roots. In Celtic tradition, Samhain marked the end of the harvest and the beginning of winter, a time when the boundary between worlds thinned and spirits could visit. All Hallows Eve. By the Middle Ages, Christianity had layered its own customs onto Samhain, transforming it into All Hallows Eve, the night before All Saints' Day. The Irish and Scots preserved these customs, and they traveled with them to the New World. These traditions merged with American culture in surprising and enduring ways. The Pumpkin Revolution, from turnips to jack-o'-lanterns. Have you ever wondered why we carve pumpkins on Halloween? The answer is a blend of necessity, legend, and a little bit of American ingenuity. The legend of Stingy Jack. In Ireland, children and adults alike would carve grotesque faces into turnips or beets to make jack-o'-lanterns. Inspired by the legend of Stingy Jack, a wily trickster who outsmarted the devil and was doomed to wander the earth with only a carved-out turnip lantern to light his way. America's bumper crop. But when immigrants arrived in America, they found a new vegetable, the pumpkin. Pumpkins were native to North America, plentiful and, most importantly, much easier to carve than hard, knobby turnips. The pumpkin quickly became the lantern of choice. This simple substitution sparked a revolution. Today, the pumpkin is the undisputed symbol of Halloween. Its glowing face is a beacon of the season. Halloween in colonial and 19th century America. Community, celebration, and change picture. A colonial village at dusk. Neighbors gathering for a bonfire, sharing ghost stories, and playing games. Halloween in early America was a far cry from today's candy-fueled frenzy, but the seeds of modern celebrations were already being planted. Early colonial days. Halloween didn't catch on immediately in colonial America. In predominantly Protestant New England, suspicion of pagan customs kept the holiday at bay. But in the southern colonies and rural communities, harvest festivals and autumn gatherings provided fertile ground for Halloween-like celebrations. The 19th century, a holiday evolves. By the mid-1800s, the massive influx of Irish immigrants following the potato famine transformed Halloween into a national event. Irish traditions merged with American customs, creating a uniquely American version of the holiday. Community parties. Halloween became a time for neighbors to gather, share food, and play games like bobbing for apples or fortune-telling. Ghost stories. Telling spooky tales by firelight became a favorite pastime, echoing the old Celtic belief in spirits walking the earth. Pranks and mischief. Mischief-making was common, sometimes bordering on vandalism, but it was all part of the holiday's playful spirit. By the late 19th century, Halloween was shedding its old-world superstitions and taking on a new identity. A secular, family-friendly celebration that emphasized fun, creativity, and community over fear. The modern Halloween, America's haunted holiday. Today, Halloween in America is a multi-billion-dollar industry, a heady mix of creativity, nostalgia, and just a touch of fright. But at its heart, it's a holiday built on centuries of shared tradition and cross-cultural exchange. Trick-or-treat, a sweet invention. The practice of trick-or-treating as we know it didn't become widespread until the early 20th century. Drawing on old European traditions of souling and guising, American children began dressing up and going door-to-door for treats. First coins or nuts, then, as candy companies saw an opportunity, sweets, costumes, and creativity. From homemade masks to elaborate store-bought costumes, dressing up became central to Halloween's appeal. Whether as witches, ghosts, superheroes, or pop culture icons, Americans embraced the chance to become someone or something else for a night. Haunted houses and fear factories. As the holiday grew, so did its appetite for scares. Themed haunted houses, horror films, and elaborate yard displays transformed neighborhoods into spooky wonderlands, all in good fun. Halloween's lasting legacy, a festival of inclusion and imagination. Why does Halloween endure? Maybe it's our love of stories, our fascination with the mysterious, or simply our desire to connect with each other in the darkening days of autumn. Halloween is a uniquely American holiday, but its roots stretch across oceans and centuries. It is a living tradition, always evolving, always finding new ways to enchant and delight. The unmistakable glow. So next time you see a jack-o'-lantern flickering on a stoop, remember, it's more than a decoration. It's a symbol of survival and adaptation, a testament to the power of tradition, and a glowing link between continents, generations, and imaginations. Quick facts. Halloween's transatlantic journey. Irish and Scottish immigrants brought Halloween to America in the 19th century. Pumpkins replaced turnips and beets as the material for jack-o'-lanterns. Community gatherings, games, and ghost stories defined early American Halloween. Modern trick-or-treating emerged in the 20th century, blending European and American customs. Halloween remains a vibrant, ever-evolving celebration with deep roots and a bright future. From ancient bonfires to glowing pumpkins, Halloween's journey to America is a story of change, resilience, and the enduring magic of tradition. So carve your pumpkin, don your costume, and join in a celebration that spans centuries and continents. Because Halloween in all its spooky splendor is truly a holiday for everyone. Modern traditions, costumes, trick-or-treating, and haunted houses. When autumn's chill settles in and dusk arrives a little sooner, America transforms into a playground of ghosts, goblins, and ghoulish delights. But how did Halloween evolve from its humble, mystical origins into the dazzling spectacle we know today? The answer lies in the modern traditions that have made this holiday a cultural and commercial phenomenon. The commercialization of Halloween, how spooks became big business. Imagine walking into a store in early October, aisles overflowing with costumes, shelves lined with candy, and enough decorations to turn any home into a haunted mansion. Halloween is now big business, and that wasn't always the case. The 20th century ushered in a new era for Halloween. As America's consumer culture blossomed, so did the holiday's commercial potential. Companies saw an opportunity, and soon costumes, candy, and decorations became staples of the season. Billions spent. Today, Americans spend over $10 billion annually on Halloween, making it the nation's second most lucrative holiday after Christmas. Pop culture icons. The commercialization of Halloween went hand in hand with the rise of mass media. Movie monsters like Frankenstein and Dracula, witches, vampires, and more recently superheroes and characters from TV and film all became Halloween mainstays. Decor mania. From inflatable yard ghosts to intricately carved jack-o'-lanterns, decorating for Halloween has become a creative outlet for millions. Halloween's commercial transformation didn't just change what we buy, it shaped how we celebrate. Trick-or-treating. From mischief and charity to candy-fueled fun. What's the first thing you think of when you hear Halloween? For most, it's the joy of trick-or-treating, a tradition at the very heart of the holiday. But this sweet ritual has a surprisingly mischievous past. The early days. Tricks, treats, and twists. In the early 20th century, Halloween night was often filled with pranks, sometimes harmless, sometimes destructive. The vandalism got so out of hand in some communities that local leaders looked for ways to redirect all that energy. From pranks to treats, after World War II, with the baby boom, and the rise of suburban neighborhoods, parents and civic organizations promoted trick-or-treating as a safer, more wholesome alternative to mischief. Charity HS role. The custom also has roots in souling and guising, old European traditions where children went door to door for food or money in exchange for prayers or performances. Trick-or-treating in the modern era today, trick-or-treating is a massive, organized affair. Millions of children, and sometimes adults, dress up and travel house to house, collecting candy and showing off their costumes. Neighborhoods compete to be the most welcoming, or the spookiest, destination. Safety. First, communities set rules for trick-or-treating hours, and parents often accompany their kids, ensuring the tradition remains fun and safe. Candy craze. The result? A staggering amount of candy changes hands, over 600 million pounds each year in the US alone. From its early days as a mix of mischief and charity, to its current status as the highlight of Halloween night, trick-or-treating is a tradition that continues to evolve. The rise of costumes and pop culture influence. If Halloween is a stage, then costumes are the star performers. And every year, the creativity on display reaches new heights. Simple beginnings. The earliest American Halloween costumes were homemade, often simple masks or sheets meant to ward off or impersonate spirits. But as Halloween entered the mainstream, the costume industry exploded. Pop culture takes over movie magic. Horror films and TV shows have long inspired costume choices. Classic monsters gave way to superheroes, sci-fi icons, and viral internet memes. Inclusivity. Today, everyone gets in on the fun. Adults throw costume parties, office workers compete in contests, and even pets don elaborate ensembles. DIY versus store-bought. The rise of social media has fueled a DIY renaissance, with creative individuals crafting jaw-dropping looks that go viral online. Costumes are more than just disguises. They're a form of self-expression, a way to connect with cultural moments, and a chance to become anyone or anything for a night. Haunted houses, parties, and parades. Halloween's social spectacle. If trick-or-treating is the heartbeat of Halloween, then haunted houses, parties, and parades are its soul, bringing people together for a shared thrill. Haunted houses, chasing the perfect scare. From modest home setups to professional fear factories, haunted houses have become a Halloween staple. These attractions draw millions of thrill seekers each year, eager for a good scare. Origins. Early haunted attractions were simple affairs, often run by community organizations, blockbusters. Today, Some haunted houses are sprawling, movie-quality productions with professional actors, special effects, and elaborate storylines. Parties and parades, community and creativity. Halloween parties, whether in homes, schools, or offices, bring people together for games, dancing, spooky snacks, and costume contests. Parades. Cities like New York and West Hollywood host massive Halloween parades, drawing thousands of costumed revelers and spectators. Small towns. Even small communities host festivals, trunk-or-treat events, and pumpkin carving contests. No matter the setting, Halloween's communal spirit shines through in these celebrations, offering something for every age and scare tolerance. The impact of mass media and pop culture. Would Halloween be the same without the influence of Hollywood and the internet? Probably not. Classic monsters, Dracula, Frankenstein, the Mummy, and the Wolfman, their images, first popularized by Universal Studios in the 1930s, became Halloween icons. Modern phenomena. Every year, trending movies, TV shows, and viral memes inspire new costume ideas and party themes. Social media. Platforms like Instagram, TikTok, and Pinterest have turned Halloween into a showcase for creativity, with users sharing makeup tutorials, DIY costumes, and home haunt walkthroughs. Halloween for all ages, a holiday that grows with you. Halloween has become more than just a children's holiday. It's a celebration that evolves with us, offering new ways to participate at every stage of life. Kids, trick-or-treating, school parties, costume parades. Teens, haunted houses, horror movies, escape rooms. Adults, themed parties, bar crawls, elaborate home haunts. Families, pumpkin patches, corn mazes, community festivals. This inclusivity is why Halloween continues to thrive. It adapts to changing times, technologies, and tastes, inviting everyone to join the fun. The spirit of Halloween. Community, creativity, and a little bit of fear. At its core, Halloween is a celebration of imagination and togetherness, a chance to step outside the ordinary, to play, to laugh, and maybe to scream. Whether you're a child savoring your first trick-or-treat haul, a teen braving a haunted house, or an adult perfecting a clever costume, Halloween brings out the playful, creative spirit in all of us. So as October 31st approaches and the world dons its mask of mischief and magic, take a moment to appreciate the rich tapestry of traditions, old and new, that make Halloween America's favorite night of the year. After all, Halloween is more than just costumes and candy. It's a living, breathing festival of imagination, one that invites us all to join the masquerade. Ready to light your jack-o'-lantern, slip into your costume, and step into the night? The magic of Halloween awaits. Trick, treat, and everything in between. Halloween around the world, celebrating the spirits beyond borders. Ever wondered how other countries honor the spirits, the supernatural, and the season of shadows? While Halloween as we know it is distinctly American, the impulse to celebrate the mysterious, to remember the dead, and to dance with the unknown is truly global. From Mexico's vibrant altars to England's crackling bonfires and Asia's lantern-lit rituals, let's embark on a journey through the world's most captivating autumn festivals. Dia de los Muertos, Mexico. A celebration of life and memory. If Halloween is a night of mischief and masks, Mexico's Dia de los Muertos, Day of the Dead, is a tapestry of color, family, and remembrance, where the veil between worlds lifts in joyous reunion. When and where celebrated from October 31st to November 2nd across Mexico, and in Mexican communities worldwide. Origins, rooted in ancient Aztec rituals and blended with Catholic All Souls Day, Dia de los Muertos honors deceased loved ones, welcoming their spirits back for a joyful visit. Traditions, families create ofrendas, altars, decorated with marigolds, candles, sugar skulls, and the favorite foods and mementos of the departed. Cemeteries come alive with music, picnics, and laughter. Symbols. La Catrina, the elegant skeleton lady, rules the festivities, her image reminding all that death is but a part of life's cycle. Hook. While Halloween often conjures fear, Dia de los Muertos invites us to embrace memory, love, and connection, to celebrate those who came before us not with dread but with delight. Guy Fawkes Night, UK. Bonfires, fireworks, and shadows of rebellion. Just days after Halloween, the night skies of Britain ignite with roaring bonfires and bursts of color. This isn't about ghosts or ghouls, but the specter of rebellion and the power of remembrance. Welcome to Guy Fawkes Night. When November 5th, commemorating the failed gunpowder plot of 1605. Tradition's effigies, guys, are burned atop bonfires, recalling Guy Fawkes's plot to blow up the Houses of Parliament. Fireworks light up the sky, echoing the ancient Celtic fire rituals of Samhain. Modern spin. For many, it's a night of hot cider, toasted marshmallows, and community gatherings. Hook. The flames of Guy Fawkes Night flicker with history, rebellion, and echoes of Halloween's ancient fire festivals. A reminder that light can banish darkness, both literal and metaphorical. Other global festivals of the dead, honoring ancestors across continents. Halloween may steal the spotlight, but festivals honoring the dead and the unseen are woven into cultures across the globe. Each celebration, though uniquely local, is united by a fundamental human yearning to connect with those who have crossed to the other side. China's Hungry Ghost Festival when? The 7th lunar month, usually August. Belief. The gates of the afterlife open, allowing spirits to roam the earth. Customs. Families offer food, incense, and paper money to appease restless souls. Lanterns float on rivers, lighting the way for spirits to return home. Japan's Obon. When? Mid-July or mid-August, depending on the region. Meaning, a Buddhist festival to honor ancestors and welcome their spirits home. Traditions. Families clean graves, hang lanterns, and perform bonodori dances, a celebration of gratitude and remembrance. Korea's Chuseok when? September or October, 15th day of the 8th lunar month. Significance. A harvest festival and a time to pay respects to ancestors. Rituals. Ancestral memorial services, shared feasts, and visits to family graves. Cambodia's Chum Ben. When? Late September to early October. Customs. Cambodians offer food and prayers at pagodas to honor relatives who have passed away, believing their spirits return during this time. Hook. Around the world, autumn is a season of remembrance. Whether through lanterns, feasts, dances, or fire, each culture's festival speaks to the universal need to honor our roots and find comfort in community. Halloween's global influence. American traditions go abroad. In recent decades, the reach of American pop culture has carried Halloween's imagery, costumes, pumpkins, and trick-or-treating around the globe. But everywhere it goes, Halloween adapts, blending with local customs and flavors. Japan. Halloween is now a major event in Tokyo, where costume parades and themed parties attract huge crowds, though trick-or-treating remains rare. Ireland and Scotland, the birthplace of Halloween's ancestor, Samhain, still hosts bonfires, games, and traditional foods, but American-style costumes and candy are increasingly popular. Australia and New Zealand. Halloween is growing, with more children donning costumes and seeking treats, despite initial resistance to the imported holiday. The universal thread: why we celebrate the unseen. Why do so many cultures, separated by time and distance, create festivals to honor the spirits of the dead, facing mortality? These celebrations help communities confront and process the reality of death in comforting communal ways. Strengthening bonds. Gathering to remember ancestors reinforces family and cultural connections across generations. Welcoming mystery. Whether through reverence, revelry, or ritual, we acknowledge that some mysteries transcend explanation, and that's part of what makes life rich and meaningful. Conclusion. A tapestry of traditions, united by remembrance. From Mexico's flower-strewn altars to Britain's bonfires, from Asia's lantern-lit rivers to America's pumpkin-lit porches, autumn's festivals remind us that the boundary between worlds is thin, and that memory, love, and celebration can bridge the gap. So, as you light your jack-o'-lantern or set a place at the table for a departed loved one, remember, you're part of a global family that honors the past, embraces the present, and keeps the spirit of connection alive, even as the nights grow long and the shadows deepen. The next time you celebrate Halloween, know that you're joining a worldwide chorus, a tapestry of traditions, each with its own magic, mystery, and meaning. The psychology and cultural significance of Halloween. Why we love to dance with shadows. Why do millions eagerly await a night dedicated to ghosts, monsters, and things that go bump in the night? What is it about Halloween that makes us don masks, embrace our fears, and celebrate the eerie unknown? The answer lies not only in history but deep within our collective psyche and culture. Liminality, dancing on the threshold. At its core, Halloween is a festival of liminality, a moment betwixt and between when the normal order is joyfully suspended. Liminal spaces. In anthropology, liminality refers to times or spaces in between, thresholds where transformation is possible. Halloween, rooted in the ancient Celtic festival of Samhain, marks the boundary between the warmth of harvest and the cold of winter, between the world of the living and the realm of the dead. Masks and costumes. By donning costumes, we step outside our daily identities. Children become superheroes, adults morph into monsters, and for one night, everyone is free to explore new facets of themselves. This roleplay isn't just fun, it's a powerful tool for self-exploration and empathy. Social inversion. Halloween is a rare time when rules are bent. Children knock on strangers, doors for candy, adults throw off workplace formality, and the ordinary is transformed into the extraordinary. Hook. Halloween, as liminality isn't just about ghosts at the door, it's about opening the door to hidden parts of ourselves. Social inversion. When the world turns upside down. Throughout history, societies have used festivals as safety valves for social tension, allowing brief periods of chaos and inversion. Halloween is a prime example. Trick-or-treating's roots. In medieval Europe, souling and guising let the poor beg for treats in exchange for prayers, temporarily reversing social roles. Modern mischief. Today's harmless pranks and playful chaos recall these moments of reversal. Even the tradition of wearing scary costumes can be seen as a safe way to mock or challenge authority. Think of the masked rebels of history, or the way children threaten tricks if not given treats. Community connection. These inversions foster unity. By laughing at fear and turning hierarchy upside down, communities strengthen their bonds. Hook. For one night, Halloween lets us play with power, poke fun at fear, and remember how liberating it is to turn the world upside down. Facing fear. The human psyche and the allure of darkness. Why do we seek out fear on Halloween? Psychologists suggest that paradoxically, scaring ourselves in controlled settings helps us feel safe and strong. Exposure therapy. When we watch horror movies or walk through haunted houses, we experience safe danger. Our hearts race, but we know it's all pretend. This allows us to confront our fears of death, the unknown, or the supernatural without real risk. Catharsis and control. By making fun of death with skeleton costumes or graveyard decorations, we symbolically master our anxieties. Laughter and play become shields against dread. Shared experience. Fear is more fun together. Whether it's swapping ghost stories around a fire or screaming at a haunted maze, Halloween bonds us through shared adrenaline and excitement. Hook. Halloween lets us flirt with fear, and in doing so, discover courage and camaraderie, death, the supernatural, and the collective imagination. Halloween's fixation on death and the afterlife isn't just about thrills, it reflects deep-seated cultural questions and beliefs. Remembering the dead. In many cultures, autumn is a time to honor ancestors and contemplate mortality. Halloween's skeletons and tombstones echo this impulse, inviting us to remember those who have passed and to ponder the mysteries of existence. The veil between worlds. Legends say the boundary between the living and the dead grows thin at Halloween. Whether or not we believe it, the idea fuels our fascination with ghosts, spirits, and the unknown. Rebellion against the ordinary. By celebrating the weird and the taboo, Halloween pushes back against the mundane. It's a night when magic is possible, and reality stretches to admit wonder and weirdness. Hook. Halloween is a mirror, showing us not just our fears but our longing for connection, magic, and meaning. Halloween in literature, film, and art. Fuel for the imagination. No other holiday has inspired so many stories, images, and nightmares. Halloween's influence in art and culture is profound and ever-evolving. Gothic roots, from Mary Shelley's Frankenstein to Bram Stoker's Dracula, Gothic literature set the stage for Halloween's fascination with the monstrous and the mysterious. Horror films. The silver screen brought Halloween to new heights. Classics like Halloween, Psycho, and The Exorcist have become October staples, shaping how we visualize terror and suspense. Visual art, pumpkin patches, haunted houses, and grinning skeletons fill canvases and Instagram feeds alike, blending folk art with pop culture. Music and theater. From eerie soundtracks to spooky plays, Halloween encourages artists to explore the darker edges of creativity. Hook. Every Halloween, the arts remind us that the unknown isn't just frightening, it's endlessly fascinating. The enduring allure. Why Halloween matters. Far from being just a night of costumes and candy, Halloween is a living cultural ritual. It's a time to laugh at fear, remember the lost, and celebrate the creativity that darkness inspires. Personal growth. By stepping into new roles, we expand our sense of self. Community strength. Shared rituals, from trick-or-treating to haunted houses, build bridges across generations. Embracing mystery. Above all, Halloween teaches us to welcome the unknown, not with dread but with curiosity, humor, and hope. Final hook. So the next time you carve a pumpkin or don a mask, remember, you're taking part in an ancient dance, a celebration of life, death, and everything in between. Halloween isn't just a holiday, it's a vital, ever-changing mirror of the human soul. Controversies and debates, religion, safety, and cultural appropriation. Why does Halloween, a night of costumes and candy, spark heated controversies year after year? Beneath the playful surface lies a web of passionate debates about faith, safety, and cultural respect that reveal deeper truths about modern society. Religious critiques and defenses. Is Halloween harmless or heretical? Hook. Every October, as pumpkins line porches and skeletons fill shop windows, voices rise on both sides. Is Halloween a harmless tradition or a threat to spiritual values? Historical roots and pagan fears. Halloween's origins in the Celtic festival of Samhain, later merged with Christian All Hallows Eve, fuel concerns among some religious groups. Evangelical Christians, for instance, sometimes denounce Halloween as pagan or even satanic, associating its imagery with occultism and dark forces. Churches may discourage participation or offer alternative harvest festivals instead. A time for community or compromise? Others within religious communities embrace Halloween as a secular community-building event. They argue that costumes and candy have little to do with ancient rituals and see the day as an opportunity for fun, outreach, and neighborhood engagement. Cultural shifts. This debate reflects broader anxieties about tradition, belief, and the changing nature of public celebrations. As society grows more diverse, so do the ways people interpret and interact with holidays like Halloween. Bottom line, Halloween's religious debate isn't just about ghosts and goblins. It's about how we negotiate identity, faith, and belonging in a rapidly changing world. Safety concerns and urban legends. Fear beyond the grave. Hook. When did Halloween become less about spirits and more about stranger danger? The poisoned candy panic. Since the 1970s, urban legends about razor blades and apples or poisoned treats have haunted Halloween. High-profile media stories, often exaggerated or unfounded, led to widespread fear and changes in how families celebrate. Stranger danger and supervision. The result? Parents now accompany children, neighborhoods organize trunk-or-treat events, and individually wrapped candy is the norm. Law enforcement often increases its presence on Halloween night, and schools issue safety reminders. Reality versus myth. Actual cases of Halloween candy tampering are extremely rare. Most incidents involve pranks rather than genuine harm. Still, these legends tap into real anxieties about community trust, vulnerability, and the safety of children in a complex world. A mirror to modern fears. The focus on safety reveals how Halloween serves as a canvas for broader social fears, from urban crime to the breakdown of traditional neighborhoods. Bottom line, Halloween safety debates show that our deepest fears aren't always about ghosts. They were about losing trust in each other. Cultural appropriation and the changing face of Halloween. Hook. Is your costume creative or crossing a line? Global growth. New questions. As Halloween spreads worldwide, it absorbs and adapts customs from different cultures, creating vibrant new traditions, but also raising tough questions. Costume controversies. Some costumes, such as those depicting indigenous clothing, cultural stereotypes, or sacred symbols, spark backlash for perpetuating harmful ideas or trivializing traditions. Colleges, workplaces, and activists increasingly call for culturally sensitive celebrations. Cultural appropriation versus appreciation. The debate centers on intention and impact. Is dressing up as a geisha or Native American chief an act of admiration or an insensitive caricature? Many argue for drawing a line between respectful participation and exploitative mimicry. Halloween's evolving identity. These debates reflect the holiday's constant evolution. As Halloween becomes more inclusive and international, it must grapple with the challenges of representation, respect, and cultural change. Bottom line, in the age of global connection, Halloween is more than a costume party. It's a conversation about whose stories we tell and how we tell them. The enduring debates. Halloween as a mirror of society. Why do these controversies persist? Because Halloween isn't just about play, it's about meaning. Conflicting values. Each debate, whether about religion, safety, or cultural respect, reflects deeper tensions in a world where values, traditions, and identities are constantly in flux. A night of masks, a day of truths. Halloween lets us try on new faces, but it also exposes our fears, hopes, and the boundaries we're still negotiating. The power of dialogue. When we talk about what makes Halloween controversial, we're really talking about who we are, what we cherish, and how we want to live together. Final hook. So, as you carve your pumpkin or choose your costume, remember, Halloween's real drama plays out not in haunted houses, but in the ongoing debates that shape how we celebrate. Every controversy is an invitation, if we dare, to reflect, connect, and create a holiday that truly welcomes everyone. The future of Halloween, trends, technology, and transformation. Hook. What will Halloween look like in the decades to come? As digital realities blend with ancient rituals and eco-consciousness reshapes our celebrations, the spooky season is poised for a thrilling transformation, one that keeps its spirit alive while embracing the future. Digital celebrations and virtual haunts. Hook. Will your next haunted house be in your neighborhood or in the metaverse? Online costume contests and virtual trick-or-treating. With the rapid advancement of technology and the rise of social media, Halloween has burst its physical boundaries. Virtual parties, Zoom costume contests, and digital scavenger hunts became mainstream during the COVID-19 pandemic, and these innovations are here to stay. Families separated by distance can now share the joy of costumes and candy through screens, connecting in creative ways that transcend geography. Augmented and virtual reality experiences. Imagine slipping on a VR headset and stepping into a haunted Victorian mansion, or using your phone's AR app to see ghosts and ghouls lurking in your living room. Tech companies are developing immersive experiences that bring haunted houses and eerie adventures to anyone, anywhere. Social media and pop culture. Platforms like TikTok and Instagram drive viral costume trends and spooky challenges. Memes, filters, and short-form videos are redefining how we celebrate, share, and inspire each other, making Halloween a truly global, interactive event. Bottom line, the digital age is turning Halloween into a borderless creative playground where the only limit is imagination. Sustainability and eco-friendly Halloween hook. Can Halloween be green and still be fun? Rethinking costumes. The fast fashion boom has led to mountains of plastic costumes discarded after a single wear. Now, a growing movement encourages DIY costumes, swapping with friends or upcycling old outfits, giving new life to old threads and reducing waste. Eco-friendly decorations. Instead of single-use plastics, more people are turning to biodegradable or reusable decorations. Think fabric banners, carved pumpkins composted after use, and LED solar lights. Community groups promote zero-waste celebrations and plastic-free trick-or-treating. Sustainable candy and treats. Conscious consumers seek out fair trade chocolates, locally made sweets, and recyclable packaging. Some even offer non-candy alternatives, such as seed packets or small toys, supporting both health and the environment. Community initiatives. Neighborhoods host costume swaps and pumpkin recycling drives. Online guides help families plan eco-friendly parties, showing that sustainability and festivity can go hand in hand. Bottom line, as climate awareness grows, Halloween is evolving into a celebration that honors the earth as much as it honors tradition. The enduring magic of the spooky season hook. Why does Halloween never lose its charm, no matter how much the world changes? Timeless themes. Fear, fun, community, and mystery are at the heart of Halloween, and these universal themes never go out of style. Whether you're telling ghost stories around a fire or sharing memes online, Halloween taps into the deepest parts of human nature. Adaptation and reinvention, from Celtic bonfires to Hollywood blockbusters, from turnip lanterns to digital avatars, Halloween has always morphed to fit the times. Its magic lies in its flexibility, absorbing new influences while keeping its core alive. A celebration for everyone. Halloween is uniquely inclusive. It welcomes all ages, backgrounds, and beliefs, offering everyone the chance to play, pretend, and connect. As society shifts, Halloween adapts, sometimes awkwardly, often brilliantly, reflecting the world's growing diversity and creativity. Looking ahead, the future may bring more digital haunts, greener traditions, and new cultural mashups. But at its heart, Halloween will always be a night when the ordinary turns extraordinary, and the veil between worlds, real and imagined, grows thin. Final hook. So as you plan your next costume or carve your next pumpkin, real or virtual, remember, Halloween as future is as bright and as spooky as we dare to imagine. The magic endures, shape-shifting with each new generation, promising chills, thrills, and a sense of wonder that refuses to fade. In conclusion, Halloween is more than just a holiday. It's a living, evolving tradition. As technology, sustainability, and creativity reshape its edges, the core spirit remains. A celebration of imagination, community, and the eternal dance between fear and fun. The future of Halloween? It's in our hands, and it just might be the most exciting chapter yet. The conclusion: why we need Halloween, yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Hook. Why does a night filled with ghosts, goblins, and glowing pumpkins hold such a powerful place in our hearts across centuries and continents? Because Halloween is more than just costumes and candy. It is a timeless celebration that lights up the darkness within and around us. A living tradition, connecting past and present, rooted in ancient rituals. Halloween's origins trace back thousands of years to Celtic festivals like Samhain, where communities honored the thinning veil between the living and the dead. These rituals helped people confront mortality and uncertainty with courage and ceremony. A bridge through time. As waves of immigrants brought their customs across the Atlantic, Halloween evolved, turning turnip lanterns into pumpkin jack-o'-lanterns, ancient rites into playful parties. It is a tradition that adapts, yet preserves its core, remembering those who came before and embracing the mystery of life. Cultural fusion. Today's Halloween is a mosaic of influences: Irish, Scottish, Mexican, American, and more, reflecting the ever-changing tapestry of society. It honors diversity while creating shared experiences, reminding us that connection is a human need as old as time. A celebration of the human spirit finding light in the darkness. Halloween invites us to explore the shadows safely, through costumes, stories, and community. It lets us face fears and taboos with humor and creativity, transforming dread into delight. Play, creativity, and social inversion. By donning masks and stepping into other identities, we break free from everyday roles and expectations. This social inversion is not just fun. It's a vital act of psychological freedom and social bonding. Community and connection. From neighborhood trick-or-treating to massive city parades, Halloween brings people together. It fosters belonging, generosity, and joy, qualities especially precious in today's fast-paced, often fragmented world. Why Halloween matters today. A sanctuary for imagination. In an era dominated by screens and schedules, Halloween offers a rare chance to dream, create, and play. It's a night when both children and adults can tap into wonder, fantasy, and storytelling. A mirror to society. The controversies and conversations around Halloween, about religion, safety, and cultural respect, reflect our broader struggles and growth as a society. Engaging with these debates helps us understand ourselves better. A season of renewal. Like the autumn leaves that fall and make way for new growth, Halloween marks a cycle of endings and beginnings. It encourages reflection on mortality and renewal, preparing us to face the future with resilience. Looking toward tomorrow, the future of Halloween. Embracing innovation. Whether through virtual haunted houses or eco-friendly costumes, Halloween is evolving with the times, remaining relevant and exciting for new generations. Inclusivity and respect. As Halloween becomes more global and diverse, it challenges us to celebrate with sensitivity and awareness, honoring all cultures and stories. Sustaining the magic. The enduring power of Halloween lies in its ability to adapt while keeping its heart intact, a balance we must cherish and nurture. Final thought. The invitation to step into the shadows. Halloween calls to us across ages and borders, inviting all to step beyond the ordinary into a world where fear and fun mingle, where the past meets the present, and where community and creativity shine brightest in the dark. So this Halloween, whether you carve a pumpkin, share a ghost story, or simply light a candle, remember, you are part of a living tradition, one that celebrates the mystery of life and the enduring courage of the human spirit. After all, in the dance between light and shadow, it's Halloween that teaches us to find wonder in both.